What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel, and I'm going to be talking about a variety of things in this video, but I'm going to be starting in the NBA, where it was announced today that Oklahoma City Thunder rookie and Gonzaga product Chet Holmgren is going to miss his entire rookie season, the entire 2022-2023 season, after having surgery on his foot to repair broken ligaments, in which he suffered the injury playing in Jamal Crawford's Pro AM crossover league. He was trying to defend LeBron on a fast break, and he went up to attempt a block, and he altered his shot at the rim, but then he came up hobbling at the end of the play, and you could clearly see, looking at the clip, that he was in pain, and tests were ran, and it was determined that he had some ligament issues in his foot, and now that's going to cost him his entire rookie season. And it's pretty disappointing, because I know we were all looking forward to, especially Oklahoma City Thunder fans, looking to see what Chet Holmgren can be in the NBA, and your rookie season is very important, obviously. And when you look at Chet Holmgren, he has all the tools on offense. He's very skilled. He can shoot, he can pass, he can dribble, he can do everything that a 7-footer shouldn't be able to do, but he's able to do it. And he can also block shots on defense. And so now, when he isn't playing this year, he's just going to have to use this time to get his body right, get in shape. Not that he's not in shape, but like bulk up a little bit, get some muscle mass on, try and start building his NBA body, because when he goes against these monsters in the NBA like LeBron, Giannis, even Embiid and Jokic, those two like big guys that are going to push him around, he's going to be able to have some support to keep himself healthy and be able to deal with that. And then obviously the other side of this discussion is the discussion on whether or not NBA players should be playing in these Pro AM leagues. And I don't think it's a big deal that people play, because it's all for the fans, right? It's for the fans to be able to see like some of the best players in the NBA, some of their favorite players, play live for free. And there's really nothing like that experience. So I think players are going to continue to play in these games, and as I think they should. I think it's great for the fans. It's an unfortunate injury, an unfortunate situation, and I think Chet's going to be just fine coming back, and he'll be ready for 2023, 2024, I guess. So, yeah, big news in the injury realm of the NBA. But in other news, KD announced that he basically mended his relationship with the Nets and Joe Tsai and rescinded his trade requests. Obviously, we all know that KD and the Nets got swept in the first round of the playoffs against the Celtics, who went on to win the East. And maybe that had something to do with KD's trade request. Emotions were probably running high. Maybe wasn't thinking very clearly, because if you look at this, Kevin Durant had no leverage at all in this situation. The Nets had him secured for 4 years on his contract, a contract that had not even kicked in yet. He still had 4 years remaining on a deal that hadn't kicked in yet. Just let that sink in. So the Nets really didn't have to do anything. And even if they were going to trade him, the Nets were absolutely doing the right thing, asking for everything that they could to try and get Kevin Durant, because you don't just give a player like Kevin Durant away for free, essentially. So they asked for what they could, and they didn't get anything back. I think I saw a report from Shams, I don't know who it was, that the best offer they got was Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and a first-round pick. And I obviously don't think that's enough to want to trade Kevin Durant. And so KD's going to be on the Nets this season with Kyrie and Ben Simmons. It'll be an interesting dynamic. We'll have to see how it works out. They're obviously a contender, if you will, in the East, because Kevin Durant is so good. And then when Kyrie Irving plays, he's one of the best players in the league. And then they're going to have to figure out how Ben Simmons is going to fit with this team, because the last time we saw Ben Simmons play basketball, he still couldn't shoot. He was a good defender, a good passer, but he wasn't sure of himself on the basketball court. And that was playing with the Sixers, who had Joel Embiid, a player who's never won. But now you're playing with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, guys who have won, guys who still need to win in their minds, or at least in Kevin Durant's mind, to sort of solidify or justify some of the moves they've made in the past. But the stakes are high in Brooklyn, because if they don't win, they're going to be looking at this as one of the most, at least the fans are, as the biggest, maybe the biggest failed superstar experiment in NBA history, because you get Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving to go to the Nets. KD left the perfect situation in Golden State. We saw them win a championship. So it's like, how are you going to leave Steph and then go to the Nets and team up with Kyrie, who's proven to be unreliable based on the fact that he can't play, whether it's due to injury or whatever other reason he has to be out. And then they get James Harden, and then that doesn't work out. They trade James Harden for Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons hasn't played yet, and you have questions about Steve Nash too. So it's like, what are the Nets doing to, I don't know, they have to be able to make this work. And they went out and made some moves. They got Royce O'Neal, who on the Jazz, he was a good three-point shooter, so that could obviously help. Joe Harris is coming back from injury. So it'll be interesting to see how they stack up against the rest of the East, because you still have Boston, you still have the Bucks, who in my opinion should be favored to get out of the conference. The Sixers are going to be good. They got PJ Tucker. James Harden is looking like he's getting in better shape. And so he may not be Houston James Harden that puts up 40 every night, but he can still be a James Harden that can give you like 22, 10, and 10, basically. I think a healthy James Harden could possibly average a triple-double if he wanted. Not average a triple-double because he's not going to get all those rebounds, but a double-double with points and assists. I think he could average 10 assists. He could do that for the Sixers this year if he's healthy and in shape. And then Joel Embiid, obviously an MVP finalist the last 2 years. So the Nets, it's not going to be easy, even if the Nets have all their guys, because there's a lot of competition in the East. I don't think I brought up the Heat. You can't count out Miami just because of how they play. And Atlanta's better this year. Chicago could potentially be better this year. There's a lot of competition in the East that's going to make it hard for Brooklyn to... They're not just going to cakewalk through the East, even if all their guys are healthy. And so, yeah, that's sort of what's been going on in the NBA. And then I want to transition quickly to the NFL, where we're in the middle of the NFL Top 100 Players Countdown list. And it's just sort of interesting to see how these lists are being voted on by the players, because Russell Wilson, I'm going to be talking about the quarterbacks. Russell Wilson was voted the 61st best player in the NFL, and he was behind Kyler Murray, who was somewhere in the 50s. I believe it was 57. And then you got Dak Prescott, who's at 44, and then only 4 spots above him is Justin Herbert. That's not that big of a gap. So what the players are saying, that based off of last year, Dak is only slightly worse than Justin Herbert, which I don't think is true. And then you had Lamar Jackson at 36 above Justin Herbert. As great as Lamar Jackson is, I would take Justin Herbert over Lamar Jackson today to lead my team. So it's like, I don't know. This list is voted on by the players, and that's what makes it so unique. And it's obviously, it generates discussion every year. And then the one that's funny to me is Trayvon Diggs being ranked at 23, because we all know he led the league in interceptions last year, but he also gave up the most yards. He gave up a lot of yards. He gave up the most yards for a DB, but led the league in interceptions because he gambles a lot, he takes risks. And so it's like, fans don't like that he gets all the acclaim that he gets. He made the Pro Bowl, he made 23 on the top 100 list. And so I don't know, I just think it's kind of funny, the sort of discussion that these lists can generate. And Dak Prescott being ranked 44 was pretty surprising, because it was like, I don't know, I was pretty disappointed, and I'm sure Cowboy fans were disappointed in how he played against the Niners in the playoffs. And so, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in sports right now, but that's it for this video. I wanted to touch on those 3 topics. Thank you for watching, and make sure to find my other content that will be listed in the description. Thanks again for watching.